welcome everyone who's watching, and for those who aren't watching, welcome to you as well. We are Ombra Gaming, and this is a very special, non-gaming related talk show cast. What do we want? Talk cast.
Talkcast.
I think we can just stick with talk show. I feel like that encompasses it.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what we're doing here, we are talking about the recently, what is the word I'm looking for? Premiere.
The recently released.
Recently released.
The pre-release.
Avengers: Infinity War. Out of the whole Ombra Gaming team, we are the four that have seen it, and we're very excited to talk to everybody on the internet about it. So let's get right to it. Some things we're going to talk about, obviously. It's a very big movie, and we're not going to be able to get to everything. But some of the things we're going to talk about include, I'll let Christine take it because I currently have a video of all of us up, and I can't move
Okay,
it.
but you want me to just run through the talking points?
Yeah, just like general.
So we're gonna talk about how the movie focuses on each Avenger and different characters, Thanos overall, his portrayal, motivations, goals, pacing of the movie, as that is a very important topic. Character development.
Sure is.
Do the characters grow from the beginning of the movie to the end, or maybe just talk about it in the whole cinematic universe? Are we satisfied with the ending of the movie? What do we expect to come from this? And the post-credit scene and what we expect to come from that.
Yeah. So it goes without saying, if you haven't seen Avengers:
Spoilers!
Infinity War, stop watching. Unless you're not going to see it, in which case keep watching, and we'll spoil the whole movie for you. So
if you're one of those people who wants to know the spoilers to spoil it for other people, then tune in.
Then tune in from you. If you want that inside scoop so you can ruin people's day,
Tasty
welcome
spoiler.
to the talk show. So yeah, spoilers ahead. You've been warned. Let's get right to it. Let's sort of go around and give our, I guess, just like initial thoughts, just like a quick, 5-minute or less, we'll say 3-minute breakdown of
I'm timing you all.
what you thought coming out of this movie. Matt O'Neill, why don't you go first?
Terrible. Thanos wasn't purple enough.
It's true. He did turn very light as the movie.
That is something I noticed immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's like fresh out of winter Thanos. He hasn't got a good base yet,
He's ashy. He's very ashy.
Usually he's
You have a lot of oxygen in his ship.
Not a lot to block the UV rays of the sun from blasting him.
There wasn't a lot of oxygen on his ship, so he just got turning purple a little
But
bit.
you're right. I mean, like, in the bits that we saw of him earlier, like he was like he looked like a grape. And it was like light violet.
I think that's just like space, like being dark, and it's making his reflection.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, continue, Matt.
but I would say this is probably out of the 3 Avengers movies, this is probably my favorite.
This is the 4th.
What? No,
Right?
3
No,
Avengers.
wait, no.
No,
Captain America
yeah,
Civil War is
Captain
Captain
America.
America.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, it's not, despite having every Avenger in it, is not an Avenger. I would definitely rank this as probably my favorite of the 3. I'm not really like, when it comes to Marvel movies, I'm not like, I like them. I think they're all mostly good for the most part, but I never get like out of my chair excited for a Marvel movie. So, like, going into it, I wasn't going into it like, with huge expectations. I'd be like, all right, it'll be fun, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. And like, I went out going like, that was unbelievably better than I had any expectation of it being.
Nice.
It was so much better than I thought it would be. So like, my expectations were definitely blown out of the water.
Yeah.
So I just want to comment on that because obviously Matt and I see every Marvel movie together. So his biggest complaint when we saw Civil War was, okay, it's great, but like there was no real consequences. Nobody died. Like, what was the point? And in this movie, he walked away. He's like, I'm so happy that there was actual consequences and people died.
I was gonna get to that. Yeah.
No, well, spoiler for your spoiler.
First spoiler of the night. Everyone's dead.
I cried like a lot, and I broke his hand. I was squeezing it so hard.
But that was my big issue with Civil War.
Yeah.
It's like I liked. I liked Civil War. I think it had a lot of good stuff, but like I can't believe like they didn't have like the the guts to just kill one character. Like if War Machine died, would anyone have been like?
I mean, they did. I mean, they technically
they crippled him, and then he was fine. By the end of the movie, Tony Hawk's like, "Here's your robot legs. You're fine."
Yeah.
It's like there's no consequences. He's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it felt like, oh, they could have done something, but then like Christine was saying, like, well, we're getting ready for Infinity War, but
Right.
like
Right.
I didn't going into this. I'm like, they're gonna kill like 3 people, and we'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it subverted my expectations though.
That's good. I mean, like, as with anything, keep your expectations low, and you're gonna walk out being like, "That was rad," you know.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I just wanted steaks.
yeah.
Like a ribeye.
Yeah. Steaks, a
Um,
big old porterhouse.
Well, we got Golden Bear was taken over here in chat, talking about Star Wars movies. We're talking about
spoil
Avengers here. Golden Bear was taken.
I
They
have a
said
Star
no.
Wars shirt on.
First post spoiler. Avengers 4 will be titled Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah.
One of
And
the
one of the
Avengers
Avengers is a scroll.
Scroll.
Yeah.
Was that Marvel? Isn't that like Marvel's race? It's like a
No,
scroll?
she's part of the Kree.
Yeah.
Right. No, not Captain Marvel. Marvel.
Marvel.
Okay.
Not Captain Marvel. Marvel.
Marvel
which
is the French Marvel universe.
She's actually just an ice cream cake, you know.
Yeah. Golden Bear was taken. Thanks for hanging out with us. You've been noticed. We've noticed you. We're not
Yeah,
ignoring
sorry.
you, I promise. So, Christine, what about you? What did you think?
I thought it was great. It's still not my favorite movie, but it's my second favorite, I would say.
What's your favorite?
Winter Soldier. That's my favorite Marvel movie.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, just because the hand-to-hand combat was so well choreographed,
Yeah.
whereas in all the other movies, it's like, oh, it's CGI because suits and powers and stuff,
Right.
which is still cool. But
Which one was the one that had George St. Pierre? Excuse me, Pierre. Was that the first Captain America?
Was he like the MMA guy?
Yeah, he was in
I think
one of them. I think it
so.
might have been. The
I
first
want to say that was Winter Soldier because he
Was it?
fights. There's a fight scene where he's fighting this obviously French guy.
yes,
Yeah.
that is the.
And, he
And
does that
it
jump
seems
where he,
like-
does the split kick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like a very like oddly choreographed fight for like just kind of
Yeah.
like nothing villain, and was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's got to be like somebody where
Yeah.
they're like,
And he
oh,
actually does his signature move when he was a fighter was the Superman punch,
Mhm.
which he does in the
Mhm.
movie. And I was like,
Yeah.
look. But
You
yeah,
know,
the
yeah.
choreography in Winter Soldier was super good.
That's that it's just so good. It was just a really good movie. I was like just excited at every turn, or really depressed at the end.
Yeah,
But I'm really looking forward to seeing like what's coming next. So
cool.
I can't wait.
Steve.
I loved it. I thought it's definitely my favorite of the Marvel universe. I've read through the comics, I read through Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War. So I have a lot of expectations for what's going to come. I can see how it's already differed because one of the big things is we don't have X-Men or the Fantastic Four involved with any of this.
Right.
And the Fantastic Four are a pretty big part of the Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War. But I enjoyed it. I thought Thanos was a fantastic villain because there are actually times where you're like, I understand what this guy is actually saying. So
Mhm.
he wasn't just some psycho who just wanted to see everything burn. He actually had a motive, and he did whatever he had to do to see it through.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought they did a fantastic job of weaving all the main characters in as well, because that's such a big cast, and it's asking a lot to get them all the right amount of screen
Oh, yeah.
time. And so I never felt like somebody was on screen too long. I thought they were able to kind of layer the fight scenes on top of each other pretty well.
Yep.
And the ending is phenomenal. People are, like, we'll talk about this when we talk about the ending a little later on. People have their discrepancies with it. They're not too satisfied because they don't think there's really that much at stake, because obviously they have the time stone and all that shit. But I think there's a lot that can be taken from how everything between this and the next one. But overall, I enjoyed it. I watched it last weekend when it came to theaters, and then I actually found a bootleg copy online and watched it again yesterday because I wanted to watch it again. It was great. Just as good the second time.
Nice.
Manny, what are your thoughts?
I agree with most everything that you guys have said. I thought it was a wonderful experience. I got tickets like way early on in like one of those like Dolby something experience, something audio, something theater, and I didn't really know
something dark side.
I didn't really like know what I was signing up for, but I was like, this is gonna be cooler in some way, hopefully. They had really comfy chairs, which was like part of the increased ticket price, but they also had this thing called what they called what was it? It was called rolling audio, and so they had speakers all throughout the theater, and and like if Iron Man was flying from like this side to this side, it would like roll through each of the speakers.
That's so
which was really
cool.
cool. Yeah, and like,
I thought we had that.
Well, we went to the IMAX theater.
What do you guys think about that? Like, my general thing about IMAX is that I can't see everything at once. You know what I mean? So like, if Iron Man and Spider-Man are talking, I'm like, Iron Man is talking, okay. Spider-Man is talking, okay, cool. Now Iron Man is talking. So like, I want to be able to. Like,
all about seating.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're sitting.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really great. I love Josh Brolin just like as an actor, and I like that he really came out in Thanos. It looked like him.
It was fantastic. It was really good.
Yeah. I thought he did a really, really good job. And so I have minor beefs, but they're so minor that it doesn't take
minor
away.
Beefs.
Okay, I wrote all my minor beefs down.
Nice. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it hit the strides that I wanted it to hit. To be honest, I totally forgot that it was one of two parts. So like we were closing in on the end, and I'm like, how are they gonna turn this one around? And like
they're not.
Yeah, and then the credits started to roll, and I was like, what the fuck just? Oh yeah! Then I remember that it was
Thanos will return.
Yeah.
That was cool. I like that. I like that they did that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now that we have sort of like overall thoughts sort of out of the way, let's talk about how the movie actually focuses on each of the Avengers. And Steve, you kind of mentioned how it did a good job at like balancing screen time. And obviously, I think one of the coolest parts of it was seeing everybody in the same movie, especially including the Guardians. And so, what did you guys think about the amount of time spent? We don't have to go through character by character, but the amount of time that was like spread across all of the Avengers, because all of them had really important pieces of the story that came to light in this movie. So what did you guys think about how all of that was sort of fit in that whatever 2-ish hours, give or take?
Yeah, so, I think they. Okay. I think they did a really good job of like getting everyone at least something to do. No one felt like they were just kind of sitting around waiting for like the action to kind of get back to them. Everyone was doing something, whether it was like Thor and Rocket, they're gonna go get they're gonna make a new hammer, they're going to Peter Dinklage's planet.
Yeah, that was. Whoa, can we talk about that real quick? I was like,
I'm sorry.
I turned to Matt. I was like, "Is that Carl Urban?" He's like, "That's Peter Dinklage." I was like, "Oh, he's just so big. I didn't recognize."
He's just so big.
Never
an actor. Yeah,
that was honestly that was one of the things I wrote in my beefs. Actually,
I agree.
It really took me out of the movie when I was like, "What the hell is this?"
It was cool. Like the novelty was fine, right? Like that was like
it was like
cool,
fun for like a funny joke, but then it was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I can't. He's just Peter Dinklage. Like,
all right.
And not that.
Wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Wait a minute, we got a raccoon that flies fucking spaceships, and the giant little person is what took you out of the movie?
Because that works. That works in the setting.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the fact that there was this overt commentary of like, hey, Peter Dinklage, he's a little person in real life, but he plays a dwarf. But in our world, dwarfs are gigantic, which is different from what he is in real. Like, it was too over the plate,
It was very wink, wink. Like,
exactly. And
like, whenever we get Peter Dinklage in movies, I don't give a fuck. I love Peter Dinklage.
I mean, again, I get it. Like the novelty's great, but like for a choice, I was just like, Marvel, you're better than that,
It felt like a cheap laugh. I don't know. It was like, it's minor. Again, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, like I think everyone really got adequate screen time to really, feel like they were doing something and part of the overall sort of scheme. But the one character I was a little underplayed was Captain America, actually.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
It felt like he showed up and then they kind of went to Wakanda and then he just kind of helped fight him, but he didn't really have any sort of like
I didn't see
thing
enough of that
outside
manly
of that.
beard.
Which I realized afterwards, which means next movie is going to be primarily, I think, him
Well, yeah.
and Tony probably.
Yeah.
So,
I want to quickly mention. So I have this page up that has,
It's like their screen times.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I'm gonna say what Tony and Doctor Strange probably
Actually,
have the
let me-
most besides Thanos.
Iron Man's probably at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Young Golden. Thanks for tuning in to our
Oh,
Avengers
hey,
discussion.
Young Golden. What's up?
So what are the screen times?
Let's see. I'm trying to see. I want like a list. These are all in like.
No.
I was gonna like someone's
You have
already
to read
compiled
this is
this.
all in like paragraph form. I'm like, come on, make this
Oh,
easy for me.
that's silly.
Yeah.
God, just give
But
it
in
to
the
me in
meantime,
easy. accessible
Steve, what did you
version.
think about sort of screen time broken down?
I thought it was perfectly orchestrated by having Thanos send all of his children to different locations, because that sets the table for spreading everybody out and not having to try to cram everybody into one scene. And it's also logical to have a villain be like, "Hey, let's spread out." Because that like never happens. And so another reason why I like Thanos as a villain is because he's clearly very preemptive. He's thinking of like 10 steps ahead. So obviously with his like godlike status and he's acquiring all the Infinity Stones, that probably helps. But it never seems like he was basically moving on. He was always thinking like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So with spreading it all out, it was able to, spread it out in Wakanda and where were Scarlet Witch and Vision at?
They were in. Were
They
they?
were in like Glasgow.
They're like Scotland.
Yeah,
they're in
yeah,
Glasgow.
there is.
I don't know.
That the nice reconnection there with Cap, Black Widow, and so they all meet up and basically they set up shop over the White Wolf, Bucky. Glad to see Bucky not a mad Russian just
I know.
at this point.
My boy.
And I loved the Thor and Star-Lord interactions. Those were absolutely
So
perfect. Just
good.
Thor was absolutely fantastic, and like Drax is just like, you're imitating the God, man. That's not your voice. Like Drax is absolutely perfect comedy for all of this, and I love, especially with Thor Ragnarok, they've really just let Chris Hemsworth use his charisma for the character, and the humor always lands.
Yeah.
Him and Rocket Raccoon were a great duo.
Good.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly. Sorry, I just wanted to interrupt. It didn't pop up on the screen, but Young Golden, thank you for the follow. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for some
you
reason,
very much.
the alert didn't. I heard it, but I didn't see it. But anyway, thanks for the follow. Go on, Steve.
So yeah, Thor and Rocket Raccoon were an absolutely hilarious duo. When basically Rocket gives him the eye, and he's like, "Oh, I would have watched that first because I snuck it out of my ass."
And also,
Just
so
throws it in.
that was a callback to when Rocket Raccoon stole the eyeball in.
Yeah.
what was it?
And that guy's eye.
Guardians 2. Yeah,
Two,
Guardians 2.
Yeah, so like, that was cool.
And they keep. I love that they kept Spider-Man and Iron Man together because Tony Stark and Peter Parker are fantastic on screen together. Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. have the best rapport. Like I want to watch those two in movies together for the rest of time. And it was just really well done that they never gave you that one unison scene. Like they're like, nope, it's not happening yet. We're waiting for it because next movie that's when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so they
I'm happy
leave
they
me
didn't do
wanting
that.
more. It was perfect because like now I'm like, all right, I would have loved it if they just released this as 1 6-hour movie. I would have sat there. I would have sat there and watched it for 6 hours.
I don't have the patience to sit there for 6 hours.
Because like I didn't feel that was like a 2.5-hour long movie and it didn't feel like that. Like I was just like, come on, like I want more. And so Doctor Strange, I think, benefited so much from this movie because I feel like we got to know more about him. Because like in Doctor Strange, you just see him kind of learn the ropes, but he's not fully aware of everything. And this one, he's putting everything he has together, and he's that moment where he's like, I watched 14,605 different outcomes of this.
Yeah.
It's like, how the fuck did he do that? It's just because he actually is a mystic art. He's put his time in to actually study everything. And him and Tony Stark were fantastic together. But he's just like, I'm protecting you, douchebag. Like it was just like perfect timing.
Yeah.
I liked him more in this movie than I did in Doctor Strange.
Same.
I liked him more in the second
Established.
half of Doctor Strange going into this movie.
Yeah, because he's established as a character. He's not just the douche.
Yeah, he's like a
I know, yeah.
pussy asshole. Quick poll: who do you guys think gets the most screen time in Avengers: Infinity War?
Of all the characters,
of all the characters.
it's gotta
Iron
be
Man
Thanos.
or Thanos? One of those.
Lock in
two.
an
I'll
answer.
say Iron Man.
I'd
to be
say
different.
Iron Man.
I'll say Iron Man.
Matt O.
I said Thanos.
It's Thanos with 29
It
minutes.
is Thanos.
Which
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
seem like a lot of time.
But everything's split up, and that's it's a
Yeah.
2.5 hour movie. That's
950 characters.
Yeah. So Thanos comes out on top. Gamora comes out second place.
Oh.
Oh,
That
really?
makes-
so
that
Thanos-
makes
Well,
sense.
they're with together for a.
Yeah.
For
So
yeah.
a good
Thanos
chunk
is
of it.
29 minutes. Gamora has 19 minutes and 30 seconds. Robert Downey Jr. I don't know why I said Robert Downey Jr.
That's my full name.
well, Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Not.
Oh, we're using our
Iron
fake
Man.
names. In that case, I'm Peter. I'm Spider-Man.
Tony Stark, not Iron Man, comes in third place. Thor comes in. Actually, Tony Stark and Thor are, third and fourth place. 18
Okay.
minutes and then 14 minutes, followed by Doctor Strange, and then Star-Lord, and then it kind of just goes down from there.
Tapers, yeah.
But I guess that kind of makes sense. The breakdown.
Yeah.
Especially like Thanos being the newest character to the roster, right? Or rather, the character that we've seen the least of leading up to Infinity War.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the split of screen time was really good because there is so much to fit in, and there is so much of the story to touch on, and I think they did a good job at sort of tweaking the things from the comic that had to be tweaked in order to keep the continuity without like retconning too much from the previous movies and the comic books. But they did enough with like the amount of time they had, the amount of story they had, and the amount of characters they had. I thought they pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that. And again, like the crossover scenes where we see characters that we don't typically see together in the same place was awesome. Like especially that first scene with Thor and the Guardians was fantastic.
Why is
Oh, he froze on my screen.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
you
fro-
might
oh,
do.
you're unfrozen now.
What'd you say, Steve?
Oh no!
All we heard was
Why?
and then you frozen, and then you went frozen.
Why is Gamora?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about Thanos. Let's sort of unpack him as a character. I thought, again, Josh Brolin, fantastic portrayal. I think so, and sort of the backstory in the comic books, his motivations are different. His end game is the
They're
same.
They're stupid in the comics.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
His
I
end game is the
really
same.
hate them.
He loves Mistress Love.
Oh, I love
Was it
Death.
Mistress Death?
Oh.
Oh, I love you so much, Death.
Skelly lady.
So like,
I would have checked out so hard if that happened.
and like his goals in the movie were way more utilitarian, and like Steve
Yeah,
said,
it
like,
makes more sense.
makes a lot of sense, and grapples with an issue that is happening right now, and it has been happening for like the last couple of decades. Like we're running out of room and stuff to eat, like that's a fact.
Yeah.
And so like the fact that it, again, tweaking, if they went with the original story, like that would introduce a whole new
Level.
a whole new like
Crazy.
setting, and it would act as the exposition of like what could be an entirely new movie. So it was cool that they were like, his end game's the same. We're not changing that. We're just changing the means. We're sort of changing the mechanic that gets him there. That's motivating him. But I thought he was awesome. Like he had the right amount of like badassness, right? Terrifying.
They set that up right away.
Yeah, like that first scene.
Oh my god!
We're gonna have him
I
beat the
know.
shit out of the Hulk in the first 5 minutes. It's like,
Exactly.
oh my god.
Yeah, that was like.
when Hulk took that first hit and like kind of socked him, I part of me wanted to be like, yeah, and then but the realistic part of me was like, well, you just made him mad. That's not smart at all. Like that was a stupid decision, Hulk. But yeah, I mean, from that first scene, he has like such a like their ability to message his authority. I thought like it's not even badassness, it's authority. And he gets like other
because,
people
like,
to
it
do
was-
his bidding. Like it was just done really well.
It was the way he fought Hulk. It wasn't just like he overpowered him. Like he tactically beat him down. Like he dodged his attacks. He punched him in the ribs, and he wore the Hulk down. It was like, oh shit! And then he basically scared the Hulk the rest of the movie. He's like, I don't want to fucking fight that guy again. He kicked the shit out of me. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
And so Bruce Banner's yelling at the Hulk the whole time, like a just an old man who just needs Viagra. Hulk
It's
Viagra.
like he's got Hulk ED.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get Hulk Viagra out there.
And so it was a cool. I thought like his ability to like scare people both through violence, through getting his crew to do his bidding with words, like just the way he like spoke was like almost poetic. You know what I mean? Like he made a pretty compelling case to killing half the people on Earth in the universe. You know.
Yeah.
Tulu said, "So I've muted the tab, so I can't hear anything you're saying." That's good job.
Thanks
But I'm here
to
to support, he says.
I appreciate the support.
Yeah,
we love you.
yeah. I'm muting your buttheads, but I'm here, says Vaguely.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Lonnie.
So yeah, what else about Thanos? What did you guys like about him?
What? Can you repeat that? You like froze on my screen.
What did you guys like about Thanos?
I mean, I liked that he was kind of like we just talked about, but at the beginning of the movie, you're like, okay, it just sets it up right away. He's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna be this villain who's gonna monologue for 20 minutes, and then you find the way to beat me. He's like, all right, well, I need this gem, so I'm gonna kill all of you. All right, thank you, Loki. Like he just does it, and you know, it's kind of like all the other movies were setting up for this. He's like, all right, I'm done pussyfooting around. You want something done, you just gotta do it yourself.
Right.
And that I love because it's like in every fantastical thing, it's like, oh, they beat the bad guy because he just sat there and revealed his plan. It's like, finally, like, he's just like, no, like, I'm just gonna kill all of you. Like, it's just, it is what it is. And it's, I mentioned before, like, his motivation is much better than it was in the comics. That wouldn't have translated well in the MCU. Especially because they're building it to be accessible to everybody, not just like Marvel comic fans.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think he
like,
did a great job.
And how about those moments where he Tulu, everyone except Jar Jar Binks dies. I still can't
believe George Lucas made a cameo.
That's
spoiled.
How about those moments where Thanos he kind of respects the Avengers, like that moment that he's talking to he's talking to Iron Man, and he's like, I hope they remember you when I fucking
I like
you.
that. I like that it gave him some sort of like, you know,
like humanity.
Where he's like, I'm not just pure evil, where it's like your dust will be nothing.
He has like he's got like a code, like when the moment when Doctor Strange is like, if you spare his life, I'll give you the time stone. And he just looks at him and goes, no tricks. No tricks. And so he takes it and he does exactly what he said. I'll spare his life, and he walks away.
Yeah. He's not sadistic.
Which like juxtaposed to Doctor Strange, who was like, if it comes down to saving you or Spider-Man or Peter Parker, like I'm taking this fucking stone. Sorry. You know. Which
and he then obviously, if he gives it, that means that's the 1 in 14,605,000 that is the way to win.
Exactly.
So
that's what I
good
got.
news, guys. They're probably gonna win next movie.
Spoilers.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, like those moments where like I was like, I kind of see Thanos' point. I don't agree with his decisions, but they're to achieve a goal. I can kind of see the logic behind, and he's saying some nice things here and there. He's not that bad. Like the fact that they were able to do that, and then to be like, wait a minute, you know, like the fact that they were able to give us that version of Thanos was awesome. Because in the comic books, he is much closer to that raging evil person, right? That raging evil being.
He's a mad titan,
right? So it's nice to have that middle ground. Yeah. It's weird that we're using the word middle ground to describe fucking Thanos, but
like anybody who's ever been stuck in traffic for remotely a long period of time is just like, you know, he's got a point.
Yeah. I saw your tweet. You're like, the longer I sit in traffic, the closer I get to siding with Thanos. And I was like,
and somebody tried to be like, well, isn't he kind of like a Nazi? I was like, no, he's an equal opportunity destroyer of worlds. He doesn't care what you believe in. He just wants half of you gone.
No. Do you know what happens to Nazis? You don't get to use the stones.
Oh, you don't.
That cameo?
That was a great cameo.
Oh my god, that was.
I completely forgot about fucking Red Skull. I did that motherfucker's back.
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, I had to like very quietly explain the context of Red Skull. because that was one of the ones my girlfriend hadn't seen, and I was like, "Oh my god, Red's going this. What happens?" And everyone's like, "Who's the asshole?"
Yeah, no, and everyone's been saying he's gonna come back, and it's like,
yeah, I'd given up. I was like, oh, he's not coming back. No, he's coming.
yes, he is.
And he was
I was
basically
like,
just
oh.
like, "Hello, I've been standing here for so long." It's like,
Do you like my cloak?
Yeah.
I got it on sale. It's a regular.
My Dementa cosplay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Thanos was really interesting. And part of me was questioning. Part of me was like, all right, Thanos, let's sit down and talk about your decision making. Right? You're gonna snap your fingers. You're gonna kill half the universe. What if your finger snapping kills? Everybody has a 50-50 shot. What if somebody you love was killed? And then I remember that he threw Gamora off a cliff.
Yeah.
And that was the only
like,
person he loved.
Oh yeah.
So...
Yeah, he was
100%
ready to
willing,
just
yeah.
throw it all away. He didn't care. Because
Oh, yeah.
that line that he says, he said, "I ignored my destiny before. I'm not going to do it again."
Yeah.
And so
Oh, yeah.
that's like all the motivation he needed was like, I need to get these 6 stones because I'm the person who can get the job done.
Right.
I mean, I don't know who told him that job needed to be done, but
he felt it needed because they didn't listen to him on Titan.
Yeah.
I like that he genuinely believed he's doing the right thing.
yes,
Like, he's the good. Like that's my favorite type of villain, who is like
Yeah,
100% confident that they're in the right.
Yeah.
gotta have conviction.
Yeah.
In my
But like,
villains.
like you compare that to, for example, and I use this on the podcast a lot, but like I look at Voss from Far Cry 3, right? Like he is convinced he's doing the right thing, but he's also objectively insane, right? Which is usually the case with these kinds of villains, right?
Right.
There's a lot of other examples of villains who think they're right, but they're also just batshit crazy. Thanos is in this kind of unique camp where he's not that crazy because his goals make sense again, right? And then on top of that, he genuinely believes that he's right. So it's like this extra layer of complexity where you're like, oh fuck, I don't know if I want to side with him or not, even though you know you don't, right?
Interesting point to bring up. So, assuming the Infinity Gauntlet is capable of doing like anything, instead of
I was
killing
gonna
people,
say this.
why not just double the resources or just fix it?
I literally was going to bring that up.
But that's because of the trauma he's experienced, and that they are sticking true to like some aspects of his characterization from the comics. He is crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's just crazy
he's
in a
not
way
100% there. Yeah.
Right.
So it's
yeah,
not,
because he's been so jaded by a life of fucking hell. So he's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want these people to have anything, so I'm going to get rid of them, and that way we can all just have more. Because, yeah, that's actually completely logical.
yeah.
Right.
He has all of the stones. He'd be like, this is the reality I want. Bam!
And that's
Yeah.
There
it.
it
You
is.
had 1 gallon of milk, now you have 2. You're welcome.
Yeah.
The universe is running out of
Exactly.
milk. That was actually his motivations.
There aren't enough cows anymore.
Yeah.
I need my calcium, boy.
This is what happened to
Turns
my
into Kratos.
world.
Boy.
Let's.
Oh, that's a quick one. Who you got in a fight? Thanos versus Kratos.
Do we have Infinity Gauntlet Thanos? Because
I
Thanos 10
mean-
times out of 10.
Kratos will find some bullshit.
He's only got stones.
He's got.
You
2
get to pick
stones.
the 3 of the stones. You get to pick the stones.
He's 3. I would almost still say Thanos.
I mean, all Kratos has to do is chuck the Leviathan axe at his hand, so it freezes and he can't close it, and then he just beat the shit out of him with
True. Speaking of like
other
of
weapons.
like tricky moves using in relation to the glove, how painful was it when they almost had the fucking glove off and Star-Lord
Yeah.
gets all
Dude.
emotional?
Star-Lord did his best Brad Pitt from Seven right there. It's
Yeah.
just that was his what's in the box moment. He's just like,
Yeah.
whoa, no, and you got Iron Man basically, hey Quill, we almost have the glove that will destroy the universe off this madman's hand. Just shut up for 2 seconds. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna punch him in his stupid face.
But that's
Yeah.
part of his
Star-Lord.
character flaw, and that's what
Yeah.
makes like. And
Oh,
Doctor
it's
Strange knew
terrible.
it was gonna happen, so
Oh, he did.
So
But
awful.
yeah,
It
but
just
like,
had to
I was so
happen.
frustrated.
but here's the thing.
Just front.
Here's the thing. Has everyone here seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. They 100% set that up in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
How's
Because when
that?
Ego's like, oh, it tore me up when I had to put that tumor in your mom's head. And not a second goes by before he takes out his guns and just starts shooting him into pieces.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even.
That's true.
That speaks to the fact that he's an emotional being.
Yeah, he's impulsive and emotional, and
because he's half human, right? Like he has that.
50% of me that's stupid. That's 100% of you.
Exactly. But oh god, what a heartbreaking scene that was. Like,
it was still.
Mad at her.
And then even at the end, like, it comes off and he grabs it by the fingertips. I'm like, oh my god, they had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's infuriating. Yeah.
That was so perfectly done.
Yeah. Let's talk about pacing. That's everyone's favorite topic.
Yeah, it's definitely mine.
Yeah. What did you guys think about how quickly the movie hit the important plot points from the exposition of like Thor and Loki dying, et cetera, and then moving forward from there?
So real quick, I don't. Matt obviously knows this, but Loki's my favorite character because Tom Hiddleston is my favorite actor.
That's great.
And when he died, I was like, I wasn't upset at all. I was like, he's gonna come back. Like he's died 1,000 times, and so I was just like, whatever. I didn't even care at that point. But what I loved about the movie is, even though it was long, it didn't feel long.
Right.
Like some other movies that we've seen recently have. And two, each, like like not cinematography, but like the direction they took with it, like, was phenomenal because each piece felt like it was its own movie. Like the Guardian scenes felt like a Guardians movie. Thor scenes felt like a Thor movie, but it was never separate enough where you're like, this isn't good. It just was separate but blended together so incredibly well. And the fact that they kind of just started the movie right away, they're like, okay, well, Heimdall's dead. There's not gonna be any more Hulk and all that stuff. I was just like, like, it was great. I don't know why people would complain about it because it didn't feel long, and I thought that it was paced fine.
Cool.
And I'm very like, I can't sit still, and I'm like, so like this is, I was okay for it.
Quasi agrees with you. He thinks the pacing was. He says it's his favorite aspect of the game, or of the movie, that is.
Of the game.
Tula says the part in the middle where they gave everyone 3D glasses and had a Muppet singing was pretty odd.
Yeah, the reality stone, man.
Reality stone. True.
The pacing was as good as I could have hoped because, again, they're spread out so far. But I love how they get right into it. And they basically, like, in the comics, you have the Silver Surfer gets thrown back to Earth, and he's like the one screaming, Thanos is coming. But they replace him with Bruce Banner, and I love how they do that because it's an impactful moment for Thor, where he watches another one of his comrades get killed right in front of him. And then it just picks up right from there, and it never slows down. But I love the way they layered it, so everything was happening at once, but on basically different planets. That was incredible. You get the Wakanda fight scene, which was absolutely amazing. And then at the time, you got the Guardians, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Spider-Man fighting up with Thanos on Titan, and both of those fight scenes were some of the best I've seen in the Marvel universe. And I just didn't want it to end.
Yeah. I really also liked the, I forget their names, but essentially like the two sort of, I guess it was technically 4 to start, but what eventually became like the 2 sort of henchmen of Thanos that were,
Ebony Maw.
Yeah, we're constantly following the Avengers and badgering
them. I actually got their names up. We got Ebony Maw, Proxima Midnight, Corvus Glaive, and
Glaive.
Proxima Midnight, by the way. Proxima Midnight was the one who Black Widow and them were fighting. And she's the one who's just like, you're never going to get this chance again. She's voiced by one of my favorite actresses, Carrie Coon.
Carrie Coon,
I love Carrie Coon.
Yeah.
And I knew I recognized that voice. I was like, oh man, they all get smoked. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I love, that was one of my favorite parts.
Rotating blade wheels. Unbelievable.
And she just throws her up. And she's like, that was gross.
Yeah.
And that was such a funny line. And she's just like, why was she up there the whole time?
That was one. Yeah, those guys were cool, but it was also kind of like, this is another minor beef I'm bringing up.
Minor beef cut.
I like the best one was the Was Ebony Maw like the crypt keeper looking guy?
Yeah.
With the
Squidward.
telekinesis?
He was Squidward.
Yeah. He was really cool. I thought he
Yeah.
was,
He was
very
amazing.
cool. Yeah, he was my favorite
he
one.
looked like he was straight out of the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
he was
shocked.
cool.
I was shocked he went as early as he did.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
why
he can't-
I
he's
was
coming back.
disappointed.
So quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like
Because the
kinda
other
funny,
ones,
though.
yeah.
He just gets sucked
Yeah.
in and he's just like floating. Through
Have you
space,
ever,
all
ever
frozen.
seen this really old movie, Aliens? Like,
Those were the
I love it.
best lines.
I love how they keep that theme going because that was in Civil War, I think, as well, when he talks about
That old movie,
like-
Star Wars.
yeah, Star Wars, yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Cool Quaz says no love for my boy Heimdall, R.I.P.
no,
Heimdall's
that was the
great.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, Idris Elba was
That was
ready
the
to
one
get
that-
out. He's like, get me out of these.
yeah, for sure. What's
Yeah.
let's see, what's up next on
Character development.
character development?
How do they
Yeah.
grow from beginning to end?
Yeah, so I personally think the relationship between I don't know I kind of see Tony Stark as like the sort of godfather of the Avengers in the MCU, right? Because he was the first one to come out and have a movie around him and sort of set up the rest of it. I have loved seeing his progression through the movies.
Yeah.
And so I think being able to see the arc that he has coming all the way from Iron Man 1, where he's like this war monger, essentially, and then he makes this like transition to essentially like a father figure to all of them, and especially Spider-Man, right? So I loved seeing that develop. But I mean, they all had really interesting sort of development from the beginning of that movie to the end. What were some of y'all's favorites?
Y'all.
Y'all's favorites.
Well, touching on like Tony Stark, one really important moment to me that stood out that really highlights that he has PTSD was when he says to Thanos, basically like, you know, I've been dreaming of like fucking killing you for, you know, years now, because he's been haunting him. And that's like the backstory for a lot of Civil War was, well, you know, he's like, think of everything that's happened, and because of Thanos, like this, he's a major problem behind everything that's happened. And like to see like his character progression go from like, oh, you know, I'm the rich businessman, everyone loves me, to this like man who's torn apart between, you know, being a superhero and wanting to help people, but seeing the terrible damage that can cause and having these pains and nightmares was so like gratifying, because it's realistic. Like, I get it's a superhero movie, realism is not high on their priorities, but like in real life that's what would happen. And I liked that Captain America had a beard. It looked really good, so I like that.
There's some development.
I was like, I like that beard.
What did Matt and Steve, what did you guys think about the development of the Avengers?
Well, see, going into this, the character development wasn't a really big deal for me, because I was like, we've had 10
years.
movies. We know who all these people are. For the most part, they're all basically, they've settled into their sort of place in the universe. So it's not, I didn't expect that much development. I thought Thor, though, actually has gotten a reasonable amount of development. Thor, I think, is easily the most improved character by far.
I think especially coming out of Thor Ragnarok, where he
considering his movies
after
were the worst
Ragnarok,
until
he's one of my
Ragnarok.
favorites.
He went from like, I don't
sucked.
care about Thor at all, to like, he's probably one of my favorites, if not.
For sure.
A scene stealer.
He
every time he was on camera, you could look.
He has a similar arc to Tony Stark, where he's like the lavish, flashy young buck who thinks he's stronger than everything, and is sort of put in place by his past, you know?
But he's very much, at this point in the story, he's kind of like he even says like I'm 1500 years old and I've killed twice that many enemies. He almost seems like he's tired. He's like, I've seen my father die. I found out I had a sister who I had to kill, and now my brother's dead, and half my people are dead
too.
Even though he was kind of laughing and like that was supposed to be kind of a cheeky delivery, like that was super sad when he was talking to the guardians.
It's like he's been through so much.
It was a rabbit he was talking to.
It's a rabbit.
Sweet rabbit.
Yeah,
Sweet rabbit.
I love that. I loved every
Sweet
time
rabbit.
him as Sweet rabbit. Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think Thor had a really impactful, especially when you come into Infinity War with the lens of Ragnarok. His development is just so good, and he's kind of taking the place of Odin in terms of like wisdom and experience and knowing.
Yeah, not just being like a hammer.
Yeah, exactly. Cool Quest says Thor's become the most interesting character for me. Felt like Ragnarok really fleshed out his world and his powers. Definitely, I agree. I mean, like he sees Asgard get demolished, destroyed. And he says very wisely, it's like it's not a place, it's not this physical thing, which is like I think like a little bit cliche, but it points to the fact that he's like old wise boy now.
He's not just I'm gonna smash things with a hammer.
And then his people end up getting annihilated.
I know.
It's just
also,
like, come on.
Where is Valkyrie? She wasn't in the movie at all. And she was on the ship, right?
Contractual obligations.
Her Korg, Ant-Man. I'm gonna be in the second one.
Is Steve glitching out for you guys a little bit as well?
Yeah, he was, but you're better now.
But
like she was on the ship at the end of Ragnarok.
So was Korg.
So like,
you're all frozen to me.
Oh,
you're good to us.
Oh,
yeah, you're good now.
There we go. I think we're good now.
I will say that Thor scene when he like blasted into Wakanda, I was like,
Thor Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like,
I honestly thought the Groot using his arm as a handle.
my god!
I thought it was touching, but I was like, it's wood. That shit would break, dude.
It's magic wood.
What do you? What do you think the other handle for Mjolnir?
It's Mjolnir, not Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
It's not a cat.
All right. Excuse
me. Probably made out of the same stuff the hammer's made of. It was just wrapped in
leather.
leather.
It was fucking wood.
We're gonna.
It's like Groot wood.
We're gonna have to check the tape.
Yeah, and like Groot is a magical tree that can basically do whatever the hell he wants. You're gonna question the durability of his goddamn wood? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Maybe that fuses with the
You're an
hammer.
asshole.
Steve's so hot all the time. I don't know.
Trying to talk bad about Groot.
Like I thought.
Get out of here.
I wanted the full what was it, Stormbreaker? I wanted the whole thing to be like made, but then Peter Dinklage was like, "Where's the handle?" I was like,
he doesn't have the handle.
Come on.
That was a good Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, again, going back to like, I wanted more from that character. Like, I don't know. It just didn't land for me. But,
well, you'll be eating your words when Thor's able to like extend the handle because it's made out of Groot and like he uses it like Scorpion.
Oh my god. Okay, let's move on.
In any case, what's next? So the ending. Let's talk about the ending. How do you guys feel about where we are sort of in the story and where the movie drops off?
Traumatized. Thank you.
I gotta tell you, I thought it was perfect because it finally gives all of them an extreme sense of consequence because now they've seen this power beyond their wildest dreams can quite literally change their entire reality with a snap of the fingers. So a lot of people were getting they're getting mad online, as the kids say, about how, well, with the time stone and eventually they'll get it back and they can just rewind everything. So really, are there any consequences? It's like, there are consequences because even say next movie comes and they get their hands on the Infinity Gauntlet, they rewind time, they make everything as it was, they're still going to remember that at some point, something beyond their wildest dreams could come to their world and shatter all of their expectations. So now they all know this in the back of their head. And I still think some of them aren't going to make it out of this. I still think there will be some permanent deaths.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think Captain America and Tony Stark are definitely dying next time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think Captain America
done.
will be.
Well, think about it. Like the only people that are left, it's the original Avengers.
It's the original Avengers.
It's all the original crew. So I think, yeah, plus War Machine. But yeah, like so most of them are going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you look at like their
Definitely.
movie contractual obligations, like
Right.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans only have one movie left in their contract.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why I think they're kicking the bucket.
Yeah, it was a weird experience for me because, like I said, I totally forgot. I was just too lost in the movie to remember that it was a two-parter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm, for the most part, satisfied with how things sort of wrapped up. I wish there was just like 5 more minutes of like the people who were left of like some kind of recovery or like not recovery but like processing it. Like I wish there was more of seeing who the people that were left like understand what had just happened.
Yeah.
I think it could have used a couple more minutes of that just for like gravitas because essentially like Dust, what, it's over. I wanted like I feel like it would have been even more impactful if we saw them process it a little longer. But
yes.
Sorry.
But I think like the way it ended was perfect. I think like the fact that he snaps his fingers, everyone's dying, everyone has no idea what the hell is happening. They're all dead. Like what is going on? And then you just see Thanos kind of just sitting back,
smiling,
and he
on-
smiles,
And
and it just ends.
And it goes to the credits, and then we're all sitting there like, and then nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's
like, what?
That's what I like. That there was no like, what do we do now? No. Now we hit back or whatever. Like, there was no like rally. It was just like, it's over.
Yeah.
It left us like in
Yeah.
the same boat as the characters because they weren't left with like any time to process it. And neither were we. It was like, wow, we really got their shoes. That was another reason why people were complaining about it. It's like, well, we know as the audience that things are gonna get better because they can do this and that.
Yeah,
but like the characters at that moment, like if you put yourself in their shoes, they think this is the end. Like if you actually sympathize with them and try to see what they're seeing, these characters are like, oh shit, he just ended half of the world. Like, what the hell are we gonna do now?
Yeah. And like Spider-Man was the worst because he's like, I don't feel so good. I was
It
like,
was so
his
good.
spider
Ad-libbed that.
He
It was
did? Oh my
insane.
God.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because it has turned into some of the funniest new memes I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
There's one of Tony the
The memes
Tiger,
coming
and
out
he's
of this are
saying, "I don't
great.
feel so great," and he's like dissolving into Frosted Flakes. Which
There's
is
this
so
shirt
good.
on one of like t-shirt sites that I follow. It's Black Panther like as a cat, and it's half like full, and the other half is Dust. It's Schrodinger's Panther. I lost it.
That's
like that's
awesome.
so
That's really good.
good.
I liked one where it was like the USSR. It's like a picture of the USSR dissolving. And it was just like, America, I don't feel so good.
That's great. That's really great. Yeah,
memes.
and then post-credit scene. So screen goes to black. We hear a dialogue between
Agent
Nick
Hill.
Fury and Agent Hill, and they're in their car, and they're like, we gotta go do some business stuff, and they're talking about the events that are happening that we just saw transpire, and then people start turning to dust, and planes start crashing, and cars are flipping, and all this shit, which ultimately leads us to seeing what's his face?
Nick Fury.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson attempting to contact someone and on a beeper
With a
yeah, he like pulls out this pager, and then the screen zooms in on Captain Marvel's logo, which is like to call somebody on a pager, their logo just shows up. What is that technology, Nick Fury?
Well, Captain Marvel's taking place in the 90s.
Right. Which is like funny because like it's not like he was going back in time to talk to her.
No.
It just like basically what that's saying is that in present day she's like, I'm from the 90s, so I'm gonna keep using the technology that I used.
Well,
in the
we
90s.
don't know where she is. Like we don't know till we see
There
it.
has to be a good reason
That-
for her to not be around. For
and
any-
I hope that the sort of like call to action is more impactful than like her like drinking coffee
Looking
and
at a
seeing the beeper and being like, away.
Well, I imagine she's probably going to lose some people close to her
Yeah.
thanks to Thanos, so
Right.
that'll spring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, can we just say that Samuel L. Jackson must lead the league in almost being able to say motherfucker, but it always
I
just
knew
cuts
it.
out before it.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. As
Yeah.
soon
Of
as
course.
Like, that after credit scene is like he's going to start dissolving, and he's going to go motherfucker, and it's going to cut him off.
He did call it like immediately.
Yeah. For some reason, in my theater, I don't know if I couldn't have been the only. I saw it on the night it premiered. I couldn't have been the only person that
Same.
recognized the logo, but I was the only person that out loud was like, "Yes!" Like when the logo showed up, I was so excited.
A lot of I was mostly quiet in our theater, right,
Yeah.
Matt? Like I'm not.
I was one of those quiet people.
I mean,
Well,
I wanted
I
to be
had no
like,
idea
I
what
get
it
We're
was.
sad, but guys, come on.
I was like Captain America 2.0. Like
Yeah.
I was still like wiping
didn't know what it was.
tears off my
Yeah.
face. I was like, "It's Captain Marvel." You.
And it
Well,
was
that's why
funny
I'm-
that like the post-credit scene after such a dark ending was sort of like funny Samuel L. Jackson on a beach.
Yeah,
Well, at the same time, though, I feel like at that moment, that was when the weight of it really hit because we were seeing these heroes of ours get lost on Titan and Wakanda. We were actually
Yeah.
seeing just New York City being decimated because helicopters, all of a sudden people are vanishing, so helicopters are crashing, cars are crashing. So that was the first time we were like, oh shit, like this is really affecting
Yeah.
everybody here.
It's not just the Avengers; it's everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with the Captain Marvel reveal, it brings a lot of questions because at the end of Guardians 2, the post-credit scene is very clearly the creation of Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's the one who saves the day in Infinity Gauntlet in the comics. I'm wondering if they're just going to introduce him for this or if Captain Marvel is going to take up his mantle because she's not in the comics at all for Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity
Yeah.
War.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what's happened because it doesn't. I think Guardians 3 isn't coming out till 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine because they're making him to like take on the Guardians, so I can't imagine they're going to
Yeah.
introduce him some one-off place before that.
Right.
It's all very because they've already switched up how the comics are portrayed in this
Yeah.
adaptation. So I was actually
So-
curious to see how they would portray Adam Warlock. 'Cause it sounds like he's going to try to be a villain in Guardians, but he's not a villain. Like
Right.
We'll have to see. What
he's
they
really
do.
just trying to protect the universe. I don't know. Very interesting.
So, do you guys think they're actually dead, or do you think they've been sent to like an alternate universe? Because that's what's getting bounced around a lot. Like all the people that.
Yeah.
do you
I think it's an alternate, probably.
Okay.
I think that's how they're going to solve. I don't know if they got sent to an alternate universe, but I think
Okay.
that's how they're going to solve it. Because it looks like the gauntlet was destroyed.
Yeah, at the end, the
Yeah.
gauntlet looks like burnt up.
So I
and
don't think
everything,
they can
but-
like use it anymore.
Right.
So they have to
Oh,
find.
don't worry.
They have to
They can
find.
make another-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right. Oh no, Dinklage was destroyed. I don't know.
I honestly thought when Thanos was sitting there looking at the sunset that he was going to turn to dust.
For a
I was
second,
sitting
I
there, I was
thought
like,
so too.
I was like, oh my god! But
I was
you
gonna
know.
be like,
Should have
you
went
played
for the head.
yourself.
oh my god, that was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
When Thor came down, like in that move, when he just like throws it in his chest, I thought it was
It kinda,
amazing.
like, pushes
But I
it in.
really wish they played the "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin while he
I
did it.
know when he like,
Like,
crashed
that
down, I
was
was
so
like, where
good.
is?
I kept expecting it to come in.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like iconic now.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
It's just like,
perfect
where
for
is
the
it?
movie.
Exactly. Exactly.
Manny, what did you think? Do you think they're dead, or do you think it's like an alternate?
I
Universe
don't know.
kind
I
of
don't
thing?
think there's. I think they're dead, and I also think alternate universe. I think those are two black and white. Those are two
Okay.
very black and white scenarios, and so like,
Mhm.
I just think like there's gonna have to be some amount of retconning to
Mhm.
like process where they are and how they died, how they are left us in Infinity War. So I think it's gonna have to be like some kind of middle ground, maybe both or something. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, the Guardians can't be dead, right? If they're coming out with another movie.
Right.
Yeah, see, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. Like we know all these other, but again, it's not like I feel like we're not supposed to think like they're all gonna die. Like that's a lot of
Yeah.
people are complaining about that. It's like, well, I mean,
You have to be an idiot.
comic
to
books,
think
no
that.
one's ever
Yeah.
going to really die in a comic book. Like how many fucking
Uncle
times
Ben,
has like
Uncle Ben
Superman
is
and Batman
the only
been
one
like,
that's truly dead, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Ben is the only one that stays
Yeah,
yeah,
dead.
it's true.
I don't
Is
know.
it?
Uncle Ben,
I'm glad
gotta
that happened.
stop
with
getting in
fucking
that car.
Tobey Maguire.
Also, I'm very happy that Marissa Tomei never dies because she is a flawless Aunt May.
Oh, she's great.
So yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of expectations. I hope that the follow-up movie, the Infinity War conclusion has as much, like, basically just has as much thought and detail put into it. Hopefully, like, there's always some kind of like contract bullshit where they have to fit in this number of whatever in the movie. Or I just hope that they stay true.
Well, I
to
think
what
they already shot it.
That well, yeah, but I mean, like, we haven't seen it.
Because that's supposed to come out next year.
Exactly, which I'm fucking so thankful for. But
yeah, we don't have to wait 2 years.
Yeah, I would be so fucking mad. But I just hope that it has the same amount of it fleshes things out the same way it did in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it gathers the same amount of hype, and I hope it has the same amount of success. I would be pretty bummed if it didn't land the same way this one did, because this movie.
It was so good. It beat out Star Wars for biggest opening weekend.
Yeah, it sold $1 billion in a week.
Yeah,
freaking insane.
So yeah,
I think we're gonna. Because I think it's gonna. It's definitely gonna meet expectations. I think we're gonna actually lose a good handful of superheroes. I think what Christine said. I think Iron Man, Captain America go. I wouldn't be surprised if like Hawkeye goes, because like he was completely forgotten about in this movie. So like, he seems like he could be cannon fodder next movie.
Yeah, but he's got a family. He can't die.
He's got a family. Yeah. They're not making any Hawkeye spinoffs, so he's probably a goner. I think Vision
so
is.
Cool in the comic.
I think Vision's gonna end up being gone for good. Although I'm a little skeptical because it looked like Shuri was able to save everything at the last second there. She knows what she's doing.
I hope she's alive. Oh my god.
She's alive.
I forget what Vision has this like second phase in the. I forget what it's. I don't know if he's still referred to as Vision. I forget, but he essentially is an all-white version of Vision that like lacks humanity and lacks like his ability to empathize, which like when he got that Mind Stone ripped out of his forehead, his whole body just went gray. And so I think he might be coming back as like a more stoic form, because like given his like love interest, right? Like I think they're setting that up for his return to be like, I am humanless Vision. I'm essentially the complete robot part. Exactly. So like I think he might still be at least around for some amount of time, because he was a character, and I'm pulling a huge blank on his name, but he was a character in the Avengers like universe in the comics. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to see some permadeaths in the second one.
I was actually really annoyed because I got spoiled that Scarlet Witch died and that Tony Stark lived, and I was like, Scarlet Witch, like whatever. But I like, Matt knows I didn't watch any trailers for this movie unless it was like in a movie I was watching in the theater. I didn't read anything. I was like, I just want to be totally unspoiled. I was so mad. I'm like, Tony Stark's the one person I don't want to know if he lives or dies. Like, come on.
Also,
oh man, that moment.
Scarlet Witch's accent got notably lighter from her.
I noticed that.
Like
she's
in the
gone.
first movie, she was like,
it's been a few years.
And then
it's been a few years, all right.
I don't know.
She got
blended. Because
they said,
hey, what's going on, fellow
like, what,
Americans?
3 years since Civil War?
Yeah.
Although, did you see that
she's got mind powers? Maybe she picks up on
the people who made Spider-Man were basically like, yeah, we kind of fucked up. It wasn't supposed to be 8 years. It was supposed to be 6 years, because Iron Man was like, it's been 6 years since Thanos came to New York.
Yes.
And then it was like, wait a minute, didn't Spider-Man said 8?
Yeah.
He doesn't know math. It's okay.
Yeah. But I mean, shit. I mean, it's been a fantastic 10 years of MCU, and it's been awesome to get to where we are, and it's finally the end of days is upon us.
The end game.
Yeah. Oh, let's go around. What do you think the name of the movie will be?
End game. Because that's what Doctor Strange said. This is the end game.
This is the end game. It's probably gonna be end game, but I would love it if it was just like Avengers Infinity War, Too Fast, Too Furious.
To Infinity and Beyond.
To Infinity, Two Wars.
So
or just like Avengers Infinity Wars, butts. All the butts.
All butts, all
Avengers
back.
Infinity War just the sequel. That's all it's gonna be.
Just the
the
sequel.
The sequel, the movie.
Yeah,
Avengers Infinity War, the retentacling.
exactly.
Squid.
Squidward's everywhere.
Squidward
So
Richard.
this was fun. We'll do this again in a year and change when
When the next one comes out.
yeah, when Infinity
yeah.
War
Yeah,
is-
roughly, probably a year to the day.
Yeah.
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 For the folks who are watching, thanks for stopping by. If you feel so compelled, check us out at ombragaming.com and on Twitter and Instagram at Ombra Gaming on Instagram and at Ombra_gaming on Twitter. Let us know what you think about Infinity War, what you're excited to learn about, and yeah, banter with us there. We'll be doing more things like this, especially as more of these superhero movies come out. We'll do some more of these. But until then, we appreciate you and we thank you for watching this very fun. What did we end up calling it? A talk cast? The Marvel's
Talk show.
Infinity
We
War
chat.
Talk cast, chat cast.
Chat.
show.
Chat.
And we
Welcome to
will
the chat.
talk to everybody very soon. Take care. Happy Sunday.